All right, starting with number 9, the rest of those problems, they all have 2 steps to do before you set up your 2 inequalities, because all of them have 2 things outside of the absolute value. There's 2 things here, there's 2 things here, 2 here, and then 2 for that last one, number 12. So we have to get rid of that stuff first before we set up the 2 inequalities. So for this one, first let me rewrite it, just so I have a little bit more room. Oops. That's 6x plus 10 is less than or equal to 47. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this 7. So I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. So I have 10 times the absolute value of negative 6x plus 10 is less than or equal to 47 minus 7 would be 40. So now this 10 I've got to get rid of, and even though we don't write it, that is 10 times the absolute value. So the opposite of multiplying would be to divide by 10. Whatever you do to one side, do the other. So here the 10s cancel out. I'm left with the absolute value of negative 6x plus 10 is less than or equal to 4, because 40 divided by 10 is 4. So now that I have the absolute value isolated, now I can set up my 2 inequalities. One will be without a change, just taking away the absolute value bars. So still less than or equal to, and still a 4. And then the second inequality will be negative 6x plus 10 is greater than or equal to negative 4. I made 2 changes. I flipped the sign, and I also made the 4 negative. So now when I solve both, I'll subtract 10. 4 minus 10 would be negative 6. Divide by negative 6. I'm putting a star here because I'm dividing by a negative. So just to remind myself, I need to flip the inequality sign. And a negative 6 divided by negative 6 would be positive 1. And then over here, when I subtract 10, negative 4 minus 10 would be negative 14. Then divide by negative 6. Again, dividing by a negative. So I have x is less than or equal to, I flipped the sign because I divided by a negative. And then negative 14 divided by negative 6. It doesn't go in evenly, but reduced it would be positive 7 thirds. So let me go over here to the graph.
Mommy.
So x is greater than or equal to 1, closed circle.
Mommy.
Yeah?
Mommy.
Yes, hon.
What?
And then x is less than or equal to 7 thirds. 7 thirds is about, let's see, if we changed it to a mixed number.
I need to get something in the car.
Okay, hold on, I'll help you in 1 second.
But I can open the door.
Okay.
I can open
It's
the door.
2 1/3. So let me go back over here. 2 1/3. So it's going to be between 2 and 3. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just fit it somewhere in there between 2 and 3. And if x is less than or equal to 2 1/3, that would be to the left. So my overlapping shaded part right in between those 2 values, I have to write the interval for that. So that would be from 1 to positive 7 thirds. And this is the interval notation.